So thank you guys for joining this webinar. This is the February continuous education put on by the Illinois Soccer Referee Committee. I am Kerilyn O'Donnell, and I will be walking us through what the mentors are looking for in my slides. There we go. So this is what mentors and coaches look for. Again, it's in the opinion of myself tonight. Probably could take it many different directions, but this is just what I've put together. So this is the agenda tonight that we're gonna talk about. What is a ref mentor and what is a ref coach, and what are we looking for? So what are we looking for with regards to Law 5 and 6? And I call those out specifically for more like professionalism and some of the concepts that are covered there. And then what are we looking for in applying the laws of the game? And then professionalism. And that was covered in January's webinar, if anyone attended that, by Ben and George. So that is posted on the website. And if you have time and you didn't already view it live or after it was posted, you can still do that. It's on the ISRC website. And then the other couple of things is just off-field observations, and then post-game team reflection. So what happens during that team reflection? Okay, so what is a referee mentor? What is a referee coach? So we're using these words in the title of this webinar, but who are these people and what qualifications do they have? So there is, and I put it here on, let's see if it pulls up and if you guys can see this. Can you see that? Give me a thumbs up if you can, Zach. Yeah, thank you. This is the Illinois Soccer Referee Committee website that we talk about often. And so if you were just to go under mentors and coaches, you would arrive at this page and it talks about the qualifications. So the minimum, I'm just going to cover a couple of these, but the minimum age of 18 to be a mentor, and you have to have refereed for at least 2 years. And then there's all kinds of training that goes into this, and there's a state training that's in person to become a mentor. And then you do recert every year. There's a lot of training opportunities for us as coaches and mentors, and throughout the year as well, just to keep our application of the game current. And then the requirements of a coach, the minimum age is 21, and you have to have been an active mentor for at least 3 years. And again, there's other training, but this is an in-person, multiple day hosted by US Soccer, at least it used to be. I think it still is. So it's usually held, they've had some in Illinois, they've had some in, I think there's one coming up in Indiana. Various other states have hosted these. But that is a little bit about what these roles are and how to get the experience and training for these roles. Essentially, it's a cheerleader, but it's a safe space for discussion, questions, clarification of rules or considerations. And the things that the mentor and coach will do throughout the match is they'll prepare. They'll look at the rules. They'll check out any game information that they can pull up on stats for the teams. They'll take notes throughout the match on things that they're observing, and then they're guiding the reflection at the end of the match with the referee team. You might see them at tournaments as well, and they might fly by at halftime. So that's a little bit of a unique situation. They should not be necessarily going up to you at halftime and talking and having a guided reflection at half, unless there's, back-to-back games and they're watching multiple matches at the same time. So a tournament situation, that might be where they have that kind of interaction with you at half. Anything else I wanted to say about these guys? So I have been a mentor, or sorry, I've been a mentor, but I've been a coach now for about 4 years or 5 years. And before that, there was something called regional assessor, I think. And so I was active in that way as well. So the what the coach can do that the referee mentor cannot do is write up assessments for regional referees being upgraded. And so there's a trajectory with refereeing, and the referee coach takes part in assessing or coaching those referees that are going to that next level. And so there's national coaches and whatnot as well. So they are all part of this the track on mentor coach. Okay, so why is it necessary to have a coach or a mentor? The laws of the game are pretty clear. We study them often. They're black and white, right? Not necessarily, actually. So I found this when I was looking to put this slide deck together. It's from Law 5, and it spoke to me. Decisions will be made to the best of the referee's ability according to the laws of the game and the spirit of the game, and will be based on the opinion of the referee who has the discretion to take appropriate action within the framework of the laws of the game. So the reason it spoke to me is this shows that there's a lot of gray. There's a lot of ways to integrate your opinion as a referee or your discretion with the actions that you take. So these are the reasons that we talk after the game and explain what happened and why we made that decision we made. What we saw and why we made that decision. So what are the referees, back to the whole point of this webinar, what are the referee coaches and referee mentors looking for? So Law 5 and 6, like I said, we talk about that. I pulled that out a little bit from the other laws of the game, but I say that this is more of the easy stuff to get right. It's the stuff that we should have in our nature. Be prepared, studying, doing your homework on the teams. Know how long it takes to get to the site, even under traffic considerations. Be prepared, be there 30 minutes ahead of time. So arriving early and then preparing. Once you get there, you're doing more preparation. You're walking around the field, making sure the field is safe. The goals are anchored. The goals are anchored. The goals are anchored. That always has to be done. And I was thinking about it before I came to sit down to present to you guys tonight. And I thought you could fail an assessment by the goals not being anchored. And you should probably fail the assessment. That is a must for the games that we do all over the state. So make sure that you arrive in plenty of time to do that, to check in the teams, to maybe introduce yourselves to the coaches, to do a warm up. There's a lot of things that you can get done in that 30 minutes, and you should get done. Coin toss, and don't forget what these guys are doing, a pregame, talking about what could happen during the match or what you'd like to see from your ARs if you're the center referee, or a good time for ARs to ask the center referee how they want to clearly avoid mixed signals where the referee is pointing one direction when the ball goes out over the touchline and the ARs are pointing a different direction. You want to get that kind of stuff right before the game. Uniforms, another easy one to get right. All referees should be wearing the same uniform. Referees should not be wearing jewelry. The players can't wear jewelry. Referees shouldn't wear jewelry. Understanding the rules of competition. If you're doing a U8, they can't head. There's a build out line to consider and kind of the rules around that. U16, how long do they go? I mean, there's been some variation in 40 minutes, or are we doing 45? Signals, that's what we can practice at home. ARs and referees, straight arms, arms over your head for offside. You can practice, I don't have it here, but whistle sounds. And then, of course, making sure you know how to handle serious injuries. And if it's not, if you assess, you look at the player and you're like, I don't think it's serious enough, you keep an eye on that player to make sure that they do get up. And if they don't, you're going to go back and call that. But that's the kind of stuff that I'm looking for from a referee as they, as they handle themselves through the preparation of the game and just these general, mechanics of the game, or how to handle even inclement weather. Stop the clock, report to the coaches, tell them it's going to be 30 minutes before we come back, or the store guard will let us know when to come back, and we're going to start at a throw in, or we're going to start at a drop ball. So like that kind of stuff is very professional and just shows that easy stuff can be done and done right. So now we get to, let me move forward here, and this is more of the laws of the game application throughout the match. And I'd say that I put this in the order of the things that I'd be looking for building up from maybe the first year grassroots referee and so on and so forth up to like a regional referee and stuff that I would expect over the time. Foul recognition is something that we as referees have to be comfortable with. Like, gotta see that you're calling the fouls. I would say advantage. It's nice to apply it, and when it plays out, it's really nice. But I would say advantage is more of an advanced concept for newer referees. I'm not looking for advantage calls. Foul recognition, so important. That's what you're there for. Safety and calling the fouls. And then, of course, working with your teammates. I want to know that, you have two ARs out there, or if you are an AR and you're working with your center referee, that you keep that flag up until they see your offside call, and then you put it down. Or, the other referee your other assistant referee mirrors it to help give that information to the center referee. So working with your teammates, making sure, like I said before, that you're not crossing signals with your teammates, that you're communicating with them, and that you handled that in the pregame. There's a lot of tools that we use to get that right. Hey, I'll mirror you when it's over in sort of your quadrant, and then you mirror me when it's, in the other half of the field. Or, you know what, let's all go up together. That's another thing that I've heard referees say. Let's go up together, put your hand down and cheat a little bit, and put your hand, the flag in the hand that you think it is. Let's get it right before we put our hands up. So those are things that working with your teammates, it's just clear. There's no inconsistencies. You're all on the same page, and it's one decision. Fitness, this might have been something that we could share on the other page, but you have to be fit enough to do the games that you're signing up to do, that you're accepting from your assigners. And there's a lot of fitness routines out there. When you're fit enough to do these things and when you're not. And so just be professional. If you're signing up to take the game, just make sure that you're fit enough to take, or you're in physical fitness, in good shape to take it. All right. Comfort with the age groups. I think there's a lot of, again, spirit of the game, yes, the law is the law. If a player in a U8 game kicks the ball back to his keeper and the keeper picks it up, that's an indirect free kick. That's one of those keeper indirect free kicks. But could we have, in the first game of the season, or, first time you see that the kid doesn't even have gloves on, he's not an official keeper, can you teach through that? Maybe. I'm not saying you should, or if I would or not, but I'm just giving you things to think about. If you're comfortable with the age group, you kind of work with that. You can even talk to the coaches before the game. Hey, how strict do you want me to be? And then if you've got a U16 game, and for example, you have the last 2 minutes of the game and you've got a 2-1 game, and the team that's ahead it's a clear out of ball or out of bounds, out over the touch line, or you've blown your whistle for something and the team that's ahead kicks the ball, clears the ball way off the field trying to waste time. That is something you can yellow card for and make sure that they know that you've seen that it's a delay of game, right? Delaying the restart. So these are things, working with the age group that you are assigned to do. And so I'm just looking for comfort in them, being able to talk to players, being able to teach players, being able to get the respect of players. Sometimes it's not easy and sometimes it's not possible, but these are things that I'm looking for. And then I guess a good example of correct misconduct application is what I just gave, but maybe you don't give a card on a encroachment and because the player is 6 yards away instead of 10, but you talk the player through it, so there's ways to manage with your character without giving the card on every specific reason for giving a yellow card. And so I want to see what the referee can do with their personality and their just their character. So, and then the last, and like I said, I'm kind of building up to more of a regional referee in this case, like grassroots, this is what I expect. And then getting key match incidents correct. This is not easy. You have to be in the right frame of mind, you have to be in the right angle, you've got to be working with your team well, because sometimes the only one that can see it is an AR. And you got to know how they want to communicate, how you want them to communicate that stuff. So key match incidents are those that can impact those decisions that can impact the outcome of the match. So penalty, no penalty, red card, no red card. And you guys can see these are big advantages. I mean, if you've given a penalty kick, they're probably going to score. So that's one for that team, and yeah, they can miss. And like the red card, no red card, there's a big advantage from a 10 on 11 player situation. Dog so, there's others like these. These are things that we will definitely talk about at the end of the match when we're talking about the reflections. So these are the things, all of these things actually are the things that could potentially show up in that discussion. But I'd say, the key match incidents, that's going to come up. If you have questions about it, or if you've got to be thinking about like why you did something, the considerations for all of that, and that's what we'll talk about. Okay. So again, Ben and George went into professionalism on the last webinar, so I'm not going to cover that all over again, but I did listen to it. I was not on the webinar for last month, live, but I did listen to it, and a lot of good stuff. So definitely I recommend listening to it. I just pulled out a couple of things here, but the big thing is staying calm under pressure. There's a lot of pressure on teams to win, coaches to win, to move on, to advance, to just, pull out one win for the season. They want to get it, and so there's a lot weighing on the teams, and it's human nature for the coaches to defend the teams and to want to win, but you're there for maintaining the safety and control of the match while applying the rules, the laws. So staying calm under pressure is not easy because, somebody's yelling, reacting with yelling could seem logical at the time, but what we ask is that you stay calm. And you'll be glad you did. At the end of the match, if you stay calm and the coach is yelling, often the coach will calm down to the calmness. Be respectful at all times. Be polite. You don't have to. Again, you don't have to match the the emotion of the coach. But you also don't have to match, like, somebody that's unkind or disrespectful, and you shouldn't take it. That's probably a whole nother presentation, but you shouldn't take dissent. You shouldn't take, targeted, um, targeted feedback on, how you're roughing the game. So you should handle that. But, in general, these are just some professional guidance rules, right? Maintaining your role, you're there to, again, manage the game. They're not there, they're not going to change, and they shouldn't change your mind. You saw what you saw and you called what you called, but you can explain yourself in a respectful manner. And we're human. I don't have to go over that, but remember you're human. So just be honest. If you missed it, then say you missed it. I didn't see that handling. I didn't see it. I will get a better angle next time, and I will try to make sure that I see that. Or whatever you need to say to just sort of let the air out of the balloon, so to speak, with the anger. These are a couple referees that, you can tell that there's probably some emotion going on in the match, and they're just using their body language. And I think this is Tori. Seems to be just talking with the player, having a conversation, not raising your voice, and the body language shows that. Nothing angry, right? Okay. And I think we've all seen this, but so this is, I just thought, be approachable. I mean, not everything was within the laws of the game. This is part of the human aspect. Just, that everybody's there, everybody's human. We all make mistakes. I think just have fun, right? Okay, and then I want to talk about off the field observations. So in putting this slide together, I kind of was thinking of those referees that go to regionals, right? Or, it could just be a state cup and everybody's in Rockford, right? And they go out to dinner after, a hard match, and you end up sitting next to some players that maybe aren't in their uniform anymore. And you're having the conversation, maybe even with your teammates on the game, the other referees on the game, and you're talking about how things played out. I would just say, be aware of being in public spaces and talking through this. I mean, it could be the referee coach is sitting next to you and listening to this. So just, these are things off the field that you might not think that you're being observed around this stuff, but these are things get out. Public information, public discussions are public. So be aware of your surroundings and watch what you say and how you say it. That could be actually on the professionalism slide that we just saw. But just even in these cases, be careful of what you say. I also, in State Cup, maybe, well, I don't know how often this stuff happens now, but in the past you would do a couple games and then you'd be off and then you do a couple more games, or even in regional, same thing. And you go and watch other referees referee some of the games. And so you'd be over at, the game, getting ready for your own game. Just don't wear the gear, the referee jersey. Don't wear, if you can avoid wearing your referee socks and all of that stuff that makes you stand out to be a referee, people will come by and ask you, hey, did they make the right call? Wasn't that a bad slide tackle? That they got the player too, right? And they want to know your feedback, right? So I would say, just in general, here's some stuff to stay away from, making opinions on, other referees and how they're refereeing the match, whether you know them or not. You could be completely unbiased in this, but I would just say be respectful and professional in all of these cases, and try to steer clear of making opinions or stating opinions on other referees. So again, this is probably not necessarily something that you'd get feedback around with regards to your referee mentor, referee coach, but it's something to be aware of, because if I was a referee mentor and I was standing not far watching the same game and I saw it play out, it's just something that it doesn't look good, right? So be professional on the field, be professional off the field. All right, and then post-game reflection. I just kind of wanted to give you guys, some thoughts on what does it look like and kind of how it goes, right? So after the game is over, the referees are probably going through and matching up, which misconduct, who from which team got yellows, who got reds, if any, and are there goals, who was the number that scored, and trying to make up the reporting aspect, and maybe even putting the report in the system. So the referee mentor and coach is probably writing their notes on what they want to talk about, or summarizing more or less, because they've already taken their notes throughout the course of the match. And then when the time is open for the referee coach to give the feedback, if the whole team is available, it'd be great, because the referee coach, whether they're there, or the mentor, whether they're there to watch specifically an AR or the whole team or the referee, they are going to notice things with regards to every of the team members. We're actually coached. These referee coaches are coached to provide feedback across the whole team. So we will have positive, and then we'll have some opportunities to think about for each of the team members. And if somebody has to run off to another game, we understand, but we probably have feedback for you that would be helpful. And so feel free to get our information. We can exchange information, and then we can talk later in the day. But after we have decided that we're going to move forward with the coaching and who's going to stay, you should expect, like I said before, to be able to discuss the goals that happened, cards that happened, certain fouls that may or may not have caused, some, maybe there was some controversial fouls. The coach got really emotional during some fouls. We might talk about those. Maybe some mixing up of, what the AR called and the referee didn't want called, something like that we might talk about. But in all of these things, we are talking about what happened during this match, and we're talking about the laws of the game to I guess, to show that that's why we should have called that, right? The FIFA considerations and the laws of the game. And those should always be forefront. Like, we're not making opinions about something and then just deciding, oh, that's probably the best thing. No, we're using the laws of the game for the rationale. And that's what we use. That's what the referees should use, right? And then we're going to provide some approaches for the next game. Maybe something happened and something was you made a decision. We say, hey, maybe you should consider this next time. Maybe you could have managed it a little better. And the reason why this is helpful is maybe you didn't like what was proposed by the referee coach or mentor, but you can think about, like, they didn't like what I did for some reason, or that stood out to them to give me some alternate or some flexibility around that. I think if you don't like it, say thank you. The coach is out there trying to do their best to give you information, or the mentor is out there to give their best the experience they have to give you information or help you with your game. Thank them. Take into consideration the stuff, write down this information, And you can decide whether or not it matches maybe your personality to do what they're asking you to do. The cut and dry stuff, they will also tell you there's, like we said, there's some flexibility with how you apply, or the opinion of the referee, how we apply the laws of the game. But the cut and dry stuff, if they're spitting, spitting against on another player, that's a red card. There's no ifs, ands, or but there's no managing that situation. And we will tell you if you tried to manage it, that's incorrect. So we will tell you those kind of things, and those are not something that you can, manage your way out of. But we'll also give you considerations for certain things that, in the spirit of the game, you could have done this. And then there's obviously time for Q&A. These should not last any longer than 20 minutes. So we really try to get in there, talk about the few things that we have, and allow you to ask some questions, and then we go our separate ways. I think most of us in mentor and referee coaches, we're trying to give back, and it's not for us. We're not trying to get out of there in 20 minutes. So if you want to call us later, you want to write us, text us, a lot of us are very approachable to that kind of thing. So you can obviously ask if you're like, hey, I want to think about this a little more and I want to get back to you. I'm sure that they would be open to that. So again, take notes. And I think just in general, I just wrote this down at the bottom. Keep a self-assessment journal for games. In general, as you want to grow through your referee career, you want to have some of your things that you're working on, and just keep working through those. And you want to remember what the coaches are saying, when you do run into them at tournaments. So how do you request, or how do you get a mentor or a referee coach to come out to your games? I would say mentors, and referee coaches can be mentors as well. There are sponsored tournaments within the state that the office is sending, a couple mentors out to each of the tournaments, and there's a, probably one in the morning and one in the afternoon to kind of handle the different games, or two in the morning, depending on the size of the tournaments. But you can reach out to the Illinois Soccer Referee Committee. Jenny will help you determine whether or not a tournament is offering mentors. I actually don't know. That might be a requirement for tournaments. I know that there was talk about that, but you can call and ask the office, and then you can get in touch with the tournament assigner and make sure that you get seen. So, and then find the mentors. Hey, can you watch my game? I'm going to do the center on the next game, and I want to hear your feedback. We would be happy to do that. We look for that eager, hungry attitude, or eager to learn, right? So that is one way to get mentors. And then there's a request assessments on the website as well. So this is more if you're, and I think, so the first bullet with the mentors or the tournaments, that's usually free to the referees, right? So you don't have to pay out of your own pocket to get that mentor feedback. The requesting of assessments, that there usually is a cost to that. It'll, I think, say on the website, but you can make a request for a developmental assessment, or when you're ready for the upgrade to regional, hopefully you've followed all the other requirements, but that is also on the website. And I think that is something that you can fill out the form right there and submit it. So that is how you get mentors and mentors and coaches out to see your games. I think I went a little quick, Zach, but that was what I planned to talk about tonight. Is there any questions in the chat?
We are monitoring the Q&A at this time. If anyone would like to chime in with a question or just a thought, feel free to do so in the Q&A. I see Oscar has raised his hand. Give me a moment to check on him. Hello, Oscar.
Hey, can you hear me?
I can, yeah.
Yes, hi, Oscar.
Awesome. Okay. So yeah, hey, Carolyn, I remember like 2 years ago, I think it was like 2 years ago that I had asked you, or you had told me that you would have been able to come, you will be able to come and watch on one of my games. Unfortunately, yeah, that didn't happen because I guess we were both busy. But I wanted to ask you for this upcoming season, is there any possible way that you probably will be able to come and see me for a center game in Chicago? Or maybe I don't know if it's best if I should get a game in the west suburbs.
Yeah, I mean, Oscar, I think you have my information, so we can chat. And I live in Chicago, so I'm happy to go out, especially if it's in my backyard. I have no problem. I love to go watch soccer, so I have no
Uh,
problems with that.
awesome. So I did have your info. Unfortunately, I don't have it anymore. If
Okay, I will get in touch with you, Oscar.
Awesome. I know that I still do have your email. I think I did send you an email. Hopefully I did. If I did, I have it saved. But if not, yes, I'll just wait for your email then.
Okay.
Cool. Sounds good.
Did you have a question, Oscar, about any of the content we?
Mm, so I was actually thinking about, I don't know, maybe becoming a mentor, but I'm not really quite sure. I know should be able to have time, but would it be a good idea to, I don't know, maybe start this season or wait another season more?
I don't have anything to do with like the mentoring, um like recruiting, I suppose. Do you know anything about that, Zach?
Yeah, I'll take this, Carolyn. Oscar, I'm sure you know Abby and or Jenny at the ISRC office. Their information is posted on the ISRC website. Feel free to send them a personal email and you can ask that very question to them. They will be in charge of your journey in that chapter should you wish to pursue it. So we're going to table that question for the office and we're going to get back to the content with the few minutes that we have left. So thank you for your question. You and Carolyn can chat off on another time regarding your question. And thank you for participating. I'm going to, you now, Oscar, there are a few questions in the Q&A, Carolyn. I'm going to read them out loud.
Yeah.
One from Anonymous asks, once on the field in a tournament, how do we know that a person is a referee mentor or coach? I'm going to let you take
Oh,
that.
good question. Yeah. Um, I would say, in one of my slides at the early, usually we're told to wear USSF, um, or OSI, USSF gear so we can be identified. But usually we would come up and we'd introduce ourselves even before the match, maybe, and hey, I'm here to watch your game. Won't take too much of your time at halftime or at the end of the game. Um, don't do anything different. Just continue to do the refereeing that you always do. So really they have to introduce themselves. Otherwise, anyone can show up with the skier, I suppose. So that's how I would recommend, um, being recognized by referees.
Thank you, Carolyn. Anonymous, hopefully that answered your question. If you have a follow-up, please do so in the Q&A. Next question is from Drew. Question is, as a mentor, is there any different approach we should take mentoring officials in a standard match versus mentoring tournament matches?
Thank you for the question, Drew. I think I'm definitely looking for, well, so I want to just take it as like, just in general, we as mentors should approach all matches similarly, except for the rules of competition and keeping those things in mind. They might not add time because they have to go to, they have to get the next game started, so that stuff might be cut out. They might, I don't know, like have subs on the fly in the tournament, not elsewhere, something like that. But I think overall, I think we should be considering the same laws across all standard and tournament games. We sometimes see two-man system at the tournaments. Those are not recognized by US Soccer as the right system of control. So, keep that in mind too, is if both referees have a whistle, probably not the best to, I don't know, consider that similar to the standard games. Hopefully that helps, Drew.
Yes, thank you, Kerilyn. Drew, if you have a follow-up question, please do so in the Q&A. There is one more question that I see in the Q&A. It is a bit off topic, Kerilyn, so feel free to answer at your will. But the question is, can we give a card before the game?
Can we give a card before the game? You can. In that situation that I talked about with regards to like a player spitting on another player, whether it's their teammate or not, it's a red card. And if you see it, you have to give that red card. So, yeah, they would not play short because they wouldn't have started the game yet. So they would still play 11v11, if that helps. Hopefully that helps guide you.
Thank you, Kerilyn. Oh, another question just came in. And for those of you participating, we still have a few minutes left. So this is a great way to engage the audience. If you have a burning question that you want to get off your chest, please feel free to type there. Next question, Kerilyn, is from Moz. It is, does the AR need to take notes such as goals, scorer, and cards?
So that is a great question, and a great question for the pregame. I would, in my pregames, I want the ARs to take notes on cards. I can handle the goals, unless I have to note every goal number. So it kind of depends what I would do as a referee. But in general, I think it just depends on what the referee wants. And you're in a supporting role as an assistant referee, so I would do whatever the center referee wanted you to write down, just make sure you write those things down. And you can ask if you think it's too much, you can ask like how they expect you to have your eyes on the field and so on and so forth. Are we going to do it in like center writes first and then the first AR right or the nearest AR writes second? You guys can talk about all of that kind of protocol before the game.
Thank you, Kerilyn. Thank you, Moz. Next question just came in, asks, as a referee, in the past, people that have given feedback were pretty harsh. You mentioned, Kerilyn, that a referee mentor will offer both positive points and areas to improve. What should I do if I don't hear any positives?
Very good question. I think you can, we're all human. I went over that. And so I think even assessors, if they see a game that may have had a lot of opportunity for improvement, they might, really focus on that. I would say, ask the coach, what are some of the things I did that you want to reinforce the good behavior? Because we do want that too. And that's the whole reason we give that positive feedback is we really liked your hard whistle to indicate that hard foul or that PK. And we liked the double tweet when you were getting in front of maybe the AR didn't see that, that last touch by somebody. So you wanted to get in front of that and let the AR know that you're going to make that call, So I think talking through those things or asking for that, they should be giving you both. And they should actually have that in their summary. So hopefully that helps. definitely ask for it.
Thank you,
And I wish it
Kerilyn.
wasn't so harsh. I'm sorry that that happened. It should be a learning opportunity.
Thank you, Kerilyn. In the interest of time, I am answering a most recent question in the Q&A there, so I will take care of that question. Kerilyn, with the time that we have left, if there are any departing thoughts you have for our participants, that would be a great time to share them.
No, if you guys see me out there, I'm happy to talk you guys through anything that you may have questions about. And I think that's true of most of us. So I think all of you probably know somebody that's been a referee mentor at least. I mean, if you took your beginning class and you had a field session, those are all referee mentors and referee coaches. We couldn't play that role unless we were in these positions. So if you see us out there, feel free to come up and ask us to give you guys feedback. And I do the same thing. I ask my other teammates, hey, what'd you guys think about that? So your peers are also out there helping you. So you don't have to be an official mentor or coach to give feedback, give positive or negative. So that's what I depart with.
Thank you, Kerilyn. Thank you, participants. It is 8 o'clock,
Thank
so
you.
we are officially done. This presentation has been recorded and will be uploaded to the ISRC website in the coming days. So please feel free to log off and send any questions you have to the office, to Kerilyn, to myself, and have a great evening and stay warm. Thank you.
Thank you.